You are not your thoughts, but you are the awareness behind them. Eckhart Tolle. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a thought so dark, so disturbing, that you wondered, what is wrong with me? Maybe it flashed through your mind while driving, a sudden image of crashing your car. Or maybe it hit you during a calm moment, a violent thought about someone you love. And then came the panic. Why would I think that? Am I dangerous? Am I broken? Am I a bad person? Let's talk about it. Because you're not alone. And more importantly, you are not your thoughts. Section 1. What are intrusive thoughts? Intrusive thoughts are unwanted, involuntary, and often disturbing thoughts, images, or urges that appear in your mind without warning. They're irrational, uninvited. They often go directly against who you are, what you believe in, and how you want to treat people. And that's exactly why they feel so terrifying. Examples: a new parent imagining harming their baby, even though they would never do such a thing. A person walking past a stranger and suddenly thinking, what if I punch them? Someone in a religious space suddenly imagining something blasphemous or offensive. Or being in a high place and thinking, what if I jumped? These are the kinds of thoughts that make people recoil, not just from the thought, but from themselves. But here's what we need to understand. Having intrusive thoughts does not mean you're violent, dangerous, or evil. They are not intentions, they are not desires, they're just thoughts, and they happen to almost everyone. In fact, research shows that more than 90% of people experience intrusive thoughts, regardless of age, gender, background, or belief system. So if you've had them, even the darkest, most terrifying ones, you are not alone. You are not broken. You are human. Section 2. The psychology. Why these thoughts happen. So why do these thoughts appear in the first place? Let's break it down. Most intrusive thoughts are ego-dystonic, meaning they go against your core values and beliefs. And that's important, because if the thought disturbs you, that's a sign it's not in alignment with who you are. This concept is well studied in the field of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. In CBT, therapists emphasize that thoughts are just mental events, not truths, not actions, not moral indicators. Think of your brain as a radio tower. It's constantly sending and receiving signals, some useful, some garbage. Intrusive thoughts are like static noise. They pop in, often during stress, anxiety, or fatigue. But because they're so emotionally charged, they grab your attention. And your brain, which evolved to prioritize danger, treats this bad thought like an emergency. This is especially common in people with anxiety disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, perfectionist thinking, or even just high sensitivity. Your mind is scanning for the worst-case scenario, so it throws terrifying images at you to try to prepare you. It's not trying to sabotage you, it's trying, very dysfunctionally, to protect you. Section 3. The neuroscience. What's going on in your brain? Now let's look at the science. There are several key areas of the brain involved in intrusive thinking. Amygdala, the alarm system of your brain. It processes fear and activates when something feels threatening, including thoughts that violate your moral code. Anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, helps detect errors or conflicts. It lights up when something feels wrong, like an intrusive thought. Prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain. It tries to make sense of what's happening, but sometimes it interprets the thought as a serious moral flaw, even though it's not. This creates a loop. You have a disturbing thought. Your amygdala sounds the alarm. Your prefrontal cortex starts analyzing. What does this mean about me? The more you panic, the more intense the thought becomes. In people with OCD, this loop becomes rigid. The brain gets stuck on the thought, repeating it, analyzing it, trying to neutralize it. And ironically, the more you try to suppress it, the more power it gains. Section 4. Why they scare us so much. Intrusive thoughts horrify us. Not because we secretly want to act on them, but because they're the opposite of who we are. Dr. Stephen Phillipson, a leading psychologist in OCD treatment, explains that intrusive thoughts often target the things we value most, because that's where they can trigger the most fear. If you love your partner, the thought of cheating will shake you. If you're spiritual, a blasphemous thought can feel soul-crushing. If you're gentle and kind, violent thoughts can feel terrifying. Here's the paradox. The more empathetic, ethical, and sensitive you are, the more likely you are to be disturbed by these thoughts, and therefore more vulnerable to getting stuck in them. So again, the presence of the thought does not define you. Your reaction to it actually reflects your values. Section 5. Real-life scenarios plus what to do instead. Let's take this into the real world. Scenario 1, the bridge. You're driving and suddenly think, what if I swerved into the other lane and caused a crash? Your chest tightens, your hands shake. You grip the wheel harder, trying to push the thought out. What most people do: panic, avoid bridges, obsess over what the thought means. What to do instead? Name it. That was an intrusive thought. Breathe, let it be. Don't try to prove anything to yourself. Remind yourself, this doesn't mean anything. It's just mental noise. Scenario 2, around children. You're holding your niece and suddenly think, what if I dropped her? You panic. You set her down. You avoid holding her again, afraid of what you might do. What to do instead? Say to yourself, this is a fear thought, not a desire. Ground yourself. I'm a safe and loving person. This thought is a false alarm. Exposure also helps. Continue being around children to show your brain there's no danger. Avoidance fuels fear. Exposure builds safety. Section 6, the shame spiral. Here's where things get dark. When intrusive thoughts are met with shame, it creates a vicious cycle. You have the thought. You feel shame and guilt. You try to suppress it. It comes back louder. You isolate. You start to believe, there must be something wrong with me. And yet, the shame is exactly what keeps you trapped. So how do we break free? Section 7, how to heal. Breaking the loop. Here's what therapy teaches us. 1. Cognitive diffusion. From acceptance and commitment therapy. Act. When a thought arises, don't say, I'm a monster. Instead, say, I'm having the thought that I'm a monster. That tiny shift creates distance between you and the thought. You're not fusing with it, you're observing it. 2. Name the intrusive thought. Labeling it as intrusive takes away its power. The thought might say, what if I did something terrible? Your response? That's just an intrusive thought. It's not me. 3. Stop seeking reassurance. One of the most common compulsions is checking. Do others think I'm okay? What if they knew what I thought? But reassurance, like avoidance, feeds the obsession. Learn to validate yourself internally. I am safe. This thought does not define me. 4. Seek therapy when needed. CBT, ERP, and ACT are evidence-based therapies that work incredibly well for intrusive thoughts, especially those related to OCD and anxiety. Getting help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're ready to live freely. Section 8, final words. You are not your mind. Let me remind you, the mind generates thousands of thoughts per day. Most are random, weird, disconnected. You are not responsible for what shows up uninvited. You are responsible only for how you respond. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the witness, the consciousness behind it all. So next time your mind whispers something dark, pause, breathe, and remember, that's just a thought. It's not who I am. And in that moment, you take your power back.